because it's going to be included. They want 2%, and that 2% is going to hit them at, depending on the type of car you got, $20
Right.
for the penalty. Penalty of you applying your actual or using your actual car. A penalty is going to apply because you're using the whole 18%. Whereas before, if you was choosing just to pay the minimum payment or the new balance due, you wasn't including any extra APR, any variable rate. You were just paying it as is. You approved of it just as is. But if ever you don't and you want to add or return
Mhm.
with interest, then it's a penalty that's going to apply. And that penalty is going to include your minimum payment. So now you could completely look at it and ignore the minimum payment and understand that that minimum payment is included in your new balance.
Right.
It's in addition to, along with another amount that you enclose that is based on a rate.
Right.
So instead of them saying on Navy Federal bills, total amount enclosed, they just say amount enclosed because the seller sent you full payment and the APR that you sent is going to make it be in its entirety. So they just want an amount that's going to help make that full balance whole.
Got it. So, okay. So with that said, when you add the 2%, you're not adding it on top of the balance. You're just
No,
2%.
right. That's going to push you over the limit.
Right. That's what I just thought about. I was like, wait a minute. Like, so you wouldn't be putting the amount that's there plus 2%. You would just be adding 2% of the amount that's there.
Right, and the 2% that you add should be a balance. So this is why they have balances at APRs because it's not like as if we writing, 2% there, but we're converting that into a price for someone else to accept. Just like how they converted the minimum payment and a new balance due into a payment or a price for us to accept. So whenever we add our new price to it, creating a new formation, now we're completing the cost of the good because it's in its entirety.
Right. That makes sense.
Whenever you do that, then you pay interest. So it's like this chart is complex, to shit, mostly everybody.
Mhm.
But it's something to overstand.
Right.
Like it's really truly something to overstand because they telling us how the prices is gonna work as we exchanging this title from one person to another.
Right.
What's included, what's not included, what you're gonna see, what you shouldn't see. But the problem is that they're speaking bold and conspicuous.
Mhm.
Bold and conspicuous. So it's like, okay, who's saying what? So this is why it's important to understand that that bold talk is everything that Navy Federal is agreeing to and promising to. Everything that is looking like this is the creditor agreeing along with Navy Federal that like, yeah, we'll let this happen based on this term.
Right. See, when I see the word penalty, it almost seems like it's a bad thing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm like, it's almost like, all right, if you don't do this, then we're gonna do this. But it's like in this case, it's not. It's a positive effect.
It is. And this is all go and play on all of the other words that we, have this nasty taste in our mouth, like cancellation, termination, dishonor, you know what I'm saying? Things like that that we know to be like bad, but really turns out to have some good in them.
Right.
So this chart is important into seeing it because it's telling you how they're gonna deal with the good. And in order for us to allow them to deal with the good, it has to be based on these APRs or it isn't consistent with the market in which they would like to use.
Right.
Whenever you decide to pay with interest, whenever you decide to return,
Mhm.
whenever you decide to do that, that penalty is going to apply. And that penalty is applying because you decide to pay with interest. So
Right.
whatever interest charge they have is going to turn into a fee because you're using that payment and you're paying, you're remitting with interest. You're making your balance in its entirety. So
Right.
they're going to go from fees to interest, interest to fees, depending on